Good evening. It is 8:30 p.m. on a Thursday, and I'm coming to you again with another video. I wanted to talk again tonight about the subject of PTSD. Most of us know that as post-traumatic stress disorder, with the initials post-traumatic stress disorder. And I came up with another PTSD meaning, and that one is Traumantic sex disorder. Post-traumatic sex disorder. And I know the first thing you're going to think is, Debbie, you spelled that wrong. You spelled it traumatic. Didn't you mean traumatic? That's what I thought when I was typing post-traumatic stress disorder on my computer, and I added the N by accident. I erased it, typed it again, the N came back. Erased it, typed it again, the N came back, and I said, Debbie, leave it. And I thought, that word is trauma and romantic put together. And to me, I've said that sex equals stress. And so that's how this came up to be post-traumatic sex disorder, or PTSD for short, which is that those initials have been very mainstream lately. I've heard multiple people in my just regular talking environment discussing PTSD. And the first time I recall hearing those initials, it was specifically attached to soldiers who had come home from the war. And it was kind of like they had to go from a very high alert and life or death, like the panic button is on for a reason. You're in fight or flight mode, and the enemy could be anywhere. You have to be on guard when you're in a war. Then the war's over, you go home, you're laying in your bed, there's nothing going on that is dangerous, but your body remembers. The trauma is stored in the body. The trauma is stored in your body. And so that's what the symptoms when they come back, And so in this specific one, which I'm talking about, occurs when the trauma happens in a romantic relationship. And define romantic. What is a romantic relationship? A romantic relationship is one that's embracing you and loving and above your wildest dreams. It's what you dream of. It's the hope and the promise of things are going to be wonderful forever. I'm going to love you forever. It's the kind of they call it hopeless romantic. We're hopelessly, waiting for that forever romance. But a traumatic romantic relationship that involves sex could also be called an abusive relationship, a toxic relationship. I kind of like this, a traumantic. It's just a new way of saying an old term, but it covers a lot. It really does. When trauma and romance come together. And that's, when people hear stories of what others have gone through in relationships that involve abuse and trauma, someone that may not have experienced it personally, their question is, well, why did they stay? Why did they put up with it? Why did they get with them in the first place? The romantic part. the romance. Those same relationships that can turn so traumatic are also the most exciting. I remember getting out of a romantic relationship that could be described as traumantic. And it was my first one that I was learning about. And I remember reading an article of how to spot an abusive relationship, because my biggest fear was always that I was going to get with a man that would hit me. And so I paid real close attention to how angry the man appeared. So if he seemed really angry, or if I knew that he liked to fight, I generally avoided those types of men because I just didn't want to be in the line of fire. But what I found out was that type of behavior is often very, very well hidden. And also, even someone that I consider myself, people consider, Deb, you're so sweet, you're so loving, you're so gentle and kind and warm and motherly. And, you know, when I was in what I call the worst relationship of my life, the most toxic, the most traumatic relationship of my life, I was pushed to my own limits of we all have a breaking point, and that relationship broke me, for sure. I didn't think I was going to go down that path. We're here to talk about this, and for you to see me write on the board. I've been a waitress for the last 20 years, and I've been writing the specials board for years, and people are always like, Deb, you need to write. You need to write on camera so people can see you write. They love your writing. I didn't think I'd be doing it to write about this, but I think this needs to be talked about. I really do. I'm feeling inspired to talk about it. So, what else may I say about it? I would say that a person that would be suffering from this type of PTSD, sex would be stressful. And even if you take out the trauma and the romance and the sex and say, I'm never going to do it again, you're still left with disorder and the after disorder. You know, you get rid of the traumatic relationship and the sex, and you still have the disorder. I'm also noticing, and please don't take offense to this, look what's right in the middle. That being said, I want to also say that this type of PTSD can be experienced by man and woman, by anyone, by all. You know, we can all experience trauma, and we can also cause trauma, even unintentionally. So, I said I was going to be doing 10-minute videos. I'm at the 9-minute mark, so I'm going to just go ahead and shut this off and give it a watch.